Hydro is clean energy, but it's not without environmental problems. It affects fish, it affects bird life, it affects people who live in the area. Still, I would say overall is one of the safest investments you can make. People often think that Norway is rich because of oil and gas. Well, it has made life easier for us. But there are actually two things that may actually make Norway rich, which is different from other countries. One is that we have the base load of renewable energy. We have the hydropower. Hydropower is what made industry in Norway possible 100 years ago. It was a development that went from the 1890s to the 1980s, large-scale developments in hydro. The other thing that makes Norway richer than most countries is that we have a higher proportion of women working in Norway than any other country in the world. This is good seen from a perspective of equality. It's a good and valuable thing. But it's even more important for the economy. Yeah? If you take away women's participation, women's higher participation in the Norwegian economy, our level of living would drop to the medium of OECD. Now it's at the top. So it has a huge impact. And this is what you'll see in Indonesia as well. Yeah? In all the universities, you have lots of young women entering university. I think most of them have a plan to work and use what they learn. This will give a bigger demographic bonus than what has been calculated. So I think Indonesia is on track to achieving great things in that as well. How is it possible in Norway? Well, there is actually one thing which is at the core of this, and that is kindergartens. Because nobody can afford to have a nanny in Norway. So children go to kindergarten from the age of 1 year old. So without kindergartens, Norway would be poor. This is very important. And this you will see in Indonesia as well. As the country grows richer, even the lower skilled workers will be better paid. You're not going to, in 20 years, nobody will have 3-4 people working in their houses anymore. So development of early childhood learning will also be important for Indonesia. Next slide, please. Yeah, smart cities. It's about more energy efficient buildings. It's about IT, yeah? You need to have systems that directly take the energy source, which is right at the time. So you need to be able to switch. You can use solar during the day when you have the sun, then switch to city power during the evening when there's no sun. You're going to have batteries, smart batteries in buildings. You're going to build in different ways. You see the green on top here. Energy efficiency will be a big thing. That requires knowledge. It requires people to think in a different way. Next slide, please. Here you see a parking space in Norway. So these are the clever guys. They don't have to, in Norway, if you drive into the city, first you have to pay the toll. So $5 to drive into the city. That goes through the system that has been developed by Q-Free, by one of your alumni here, by Ahmad and his colleagues. So you drive with a smart unit in your car. You don't have to stop at the toll gate. You just drive through. It registers that you drove. You're $5 poorer. Then you have to park your car. That will set you back, most places, like $5 an hour. So most people now, they've discovered it's not a good idea to take the car to the city center, unless you drive electric. So here you see lots of people have switched already. Air pollution in Oslo has gone down. Like in Jakarta or Bandung, we used to have dangerous levels of air pollution in the center of the city. As late as 10 years ago, it was a huge problem. Already it's getting better because of this change. These are the kind of changes that makes people's lives better, yeah? So just as you're going to see here, the people in Oslo, they were so angry when these guys came with their electronic road pricing. They said, this is unfair, and we have to go to work, and it's too expensive, and it's not practical to take the train, and everything, yeah? Then they saw public transport was getting better, the air was getting cleaner. Nobody is objecting to this anymore. Nobody is questioning. It's a fact of life. If you drive a polluting car, you have to pay. People accept it. It's like that. It's a fact of life. Next slide, please. Norway and Indonesia has been part of a group of countries that have made a study about the world economy. What this report shows in very synthesized version is that for the world economy, changing to a greener development is an enormous opportunity for growth. It will produce a lot of growth, a lot of investment opportunities. You are going to have a lot of people who are going to say no, because they know that they're going to lose. Yeah? If I was producing diesel engines, I would also say that this is a very bad idea. If I was producing old-style motorcycles, I would also say it's a very bad idea. We will lose jobs. It's bad for the economy. No, it's not. Imagine in Indonesia, yeah? If you made the change only to hybrid cars, you already have car factories. It will require new investment. Who would have to invest? Toyota. It will bring in new jobs for engineers. It will bring in new equipment to the factories. It's investment. It's not cost. It's the same discussion again as with hydropower. These are investments that will pay off. It will make us healthier. Yeah? Bandung, Jakarta, all the big cities in Indonesia now have levels of air pollution that you don't really want your children to breathe this. We can change it in 10 to 15 years, just as we did in Oslo. We're not done yet. But now, if you go for a walk all day in the center of Oslo, your clothes are not smelly from exhaust fumes afterwards. When I grew up, 2 hours in the city, you would have to wash down afterwards. You would be black. Next slide, please. Yeah. It is about technology, but it's also to a large extent about public policy. Yeah? Norway is a big oil producer. Do you think that means that Norwegians enjoy cheap petrol and diesel? Yes, no? Who thinks yes, that we have cheap petrol for the population? We produce it ourselves. Shouldn't it be cheap? Who thinks it's expensive? Yeah. Okay, there are more people on the right side. Yes. The price of 1 liter of petrol in Norway is almost 3 times the price in Indonesia. Why? Because of taxes. Why shouldn't the government make money from people polluting? Actually, now it's the opposite. Yeah? Until recently, people in Indonesia got paid to pollute because the petrol was subsidized. It's a huge source of income for the government in Norway. It can be used for kindergartens, for universities, for schools. This you will see coming in all developing countries as well. You'll have more taxes on the stuff that pollutes. Also, we talked about hydropower, just to repeat that. One of the problems also is that banks in general, for investments, they look at 10 to 20 years returns. That needs to be changed as well. You need to have new financial products that take into consideration that for some of these investments, after 10 years, that's what it takes to develop the project, yeah? But then you'll make money. So you need financial systems that they can cater for this as well. Paris Agreement last year, Indonesia did a great job in contributing to getting that through. The Indonesian parliament just ratified the Paris Agreement. Congratulations on that, very important. Paris also opens for a lot of new sources of financing. And one of the things that will hopefully happen is that it will give new sources of financing for clean energy. So that's among the opportunities that will come out of a greener future. Next slide, please. We can go to next. Yeah, here you see the earlier electrical cars we saw was kind of looks like something that Donald Duck would drive. It's still a little bit like that, but it's changing very rapidly. And you can see that. You can see that a lot of the big investors are now seeing, okay, where do we want to invest? Where's the future? So this is a Tesla. One of Tesla's biggest markets is actually Norway, surprisingly. Country of 5 million people. Has probably almost the same number of Teslas as Great Britain, which is 10 times bigger than us. Because of the incentives, but also because people are interested in technology, and because they find these new cars cooler than the old ones. Next slide, please. In this, Norway and Indonesia has found each other in a new way. Norway and Indonesia has always been working closely together. There are ties between Norway and Indonesia that go hundreds of years back, actually, through maritime relations. Norwegian seamen has been traveling to Indonesia since the 1600s, often on ships from other countries. But the ties have been there. But the last 10 years, it's become much closer. A lot of this is about protection of Indonesia's forest. SBY started this by saying, we are going to stop deforestation in Indonesia. He was the first leader of a big tropical country being so clear about the direction that the country wanted to take. Norway then stopped up and said, okay, if you want to go that direction, we want to help you. So if you want to do it, we'll give you up to $1 billion to permit you to do it faster and better than you would otherwise have done. Here you see your President Jokowi together with our Prime Minister Erna Solberg last year. She visited Sumatra. She went into the forest on a very rainy and slippery day and met the orang rimba in Jambi province. Very interesting visit showing the ties between Norway and Indonesia. So there are a lot of green ties, both in terms of technology, in terms of collaboration. I think there will be increasingly also blue ties between Norway and Indonesia. Blue, what is that? It is the maritime. So imagine if you want to produce protein on land, if you use beef, how much land do you need for a ton of protein? You need quite a lot of land, yeah? Surface that you don't have. Norway has gone from having zero fish farming in 1980 to exporting 10 billion worth of salmon, farmed salmon. We have been through booms and busts. I'm not going to go into the details here today, but it's about technology, environment, and sustainability. If you don't do it in the right way, the fish die. That's the basics of it. We have now learned our lesson. We know how to do it in a way so that the fish don't die. That technology we're now trying to transfer to Indonesia. I believe that this is something that's going to go very fast up. Indonesia has the potential to produce many, many, many times more seafood than it does today. Imagine small Norway, 5 million people, but we produce fish so that 36 million people every day eat Norwegian fish. Indonesia could do the same. Eh? You could feed your own population on fish and export. And this is just beginning. And if you think fish farming is low tech, think again. There's going to be a lot of use for IT in that business. In every stage, from production to logistics to end consumer. Next slide, please. We are expanding the ties between Indonesia and Norway in many, many ways. One of the important ways is through collaboration, people to people. I think the example is here today. An Indonesian working for a Norwegian company taking the initiative. That's why I'm here. One of the things that we have seen is how important Indonesians who are either alumni from Norwegian universities or work for Norwegian companies are. So we are regularly having alumni gatherings. We're trying to use the people who have studied in Norway. There are opportunities to study in Norway. We don't have the big scholarship schemes that other countries have. But there are a number of collaborations between the Indonesian and Norwegian universities. The way it works is very often that somebody who is an alumni from Norwegian university goes back to his mother institution or her mother institution, talks to them, then there is a contact established between the two universities, and it develops from there. There are important technology centers in Norway. I think Ahmad knows about them, especially in a city called Trondheim, but also in Oslo, Stavanger, other cities. There is a web page called Study in Norway. So that's a place where you can go to have a look at what kind of opportunities are there. Here you also have a few other web addresses. You can send us questions also on Twitter at Dubes Norvegia. Please have a look at also Norwegian government's official site and the new climate economy report. I think I'll stop there to give more time to interact with you. I'm sure there are questions and comments and views on what I've said. Please don't be afraid to disagree with me either. I can take it. Thank you.
Viking is for us a favorite character when we were young. And for myself, when I have opportunity to visit Oslo, the thing that comes to my mind is visiting Viking Museum. Yeah. So the story of Viking is very interesting because we can learn that if we ignore the ecology and environment, meaning our life will collapse. And also His Excellency also nicely highlight the potential renewable energy source in Indonesia that we right until now have not developed in a good way. And also the potential from the marine, which is also will be good for us if we can develop these resources. The thing that I also note here is the story from Norway that in the beginning, when we try to implement ecological awareness, it has a lot of challenges. But after 10 or 15 years, then it become fact of life, and nobody complain again about public transport, and then the quality of life increases. Uh, Another happy story is that Indonesian government and Norway right now is already have a strong commitment to develop and to rescue our ecology. And now it's time for discussion. So there are already several questions via Slido, but in the beginning I want to open with a direct question.
Thank you, His Excellency. My name is Erda Guslinar. I'm from Applied Faculty. Currently, I'm studying doctoral now. I'm from Informatics Engineering. Thanks for your inspiring speech. This is new topics for me. Yeah. This is maybe my interest to explore more about sustainability. I've read many papers told that sustainability is going to become new megatrend. So enterprise, corporate, nation need to engage with those issues. You say that Indonesia has a big potential, and I see Norway is has a lot of knowledge about sustainable energy, and we can say that Norway has historical proof of success. Yeah. But I want to ask you this question. In Indonesia, issues about sustainability is dikenali itu apa ya bahasa Inggrisnya ya? Ya. Sustainability is not new issue for us in Indonesia. I would like to